Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to WeAwake. And this is the WeAwake family here, team, and here we are meditating together. Why? Because we love you. It's a good reason to do it. And if your first time here, we use audio tracks from our Beat technology, which is brainwave enhancement and amplification technology. So it's pretty cool. You listen to this stuff and it makes your brainwaves, the desired brainwaves, stronger, the ones that you're using in the tracks, and amplifies them. So if you have a bit of delta, usually the brain exhibits most of the brainwaves. It's a matter of how much it will greatly enhance your delta brainwaves, and so you're automatically can go into these very deep, calm states of meditation, and then you can do all kinds of things. It opens up that space, that castle, that room, and you can pray in those places. You can seek for guidance and wisdom, heal from trauma. There's all sorts of good stuff. But first you have to get there. You have to get the keys. And we have found that when we meditate together, using what traditional meditation together is pretty powerful. Using this stuff is even more powerful. And we have found, and especially in this age of the pandemic, that this stuff is, just doesn't matter if we're separated by thousands of miles. There's a connection that happens that is very real and very palpable. So that's why we do it together. It's good for us, and it's good for you, and it's good for the whole planet. And we are in really, really challenging times. And I know we always say that all the time whenever you're alive, but it's really true this time. I think it's more challenging. So, and one of the things I've been doing recently, I'm working on a new podcast we call Deep Transformation with Dr. Roger Walsh. And Dr. Walsh is one of the first people that sponsored and supported the young genius Ken Wilber when he was just getting going. And he has been a light in the humanistic, transpersonal, and then later in the integral spirituality or psychology movement. He's a professor of psychiatry at anyway, I forget which California university, sorry Roger, but one of the good ones, and for many years. And so he's just a really accomplished guy. He's also a lama, and not a furry animal, I mean, of the Tibetan type, right? And that was given as just an honor to his achievements in guiding others. So he's really an extraordinary man, really smart, truly a scholar, very humble, and I just admired him from afar for years. And his wife, who recently passed away, Dr. Frances Vaughn, was also a very accomplished therapist and writer. And I think it was Ken Wilber, he said that Frances Vaughn was the wisest woman he ever met. That's an endorsement if I've ever heard one. So he lost his wife a couple of years ago, and we're at a conference. And I'd always, I've been to a lot of conferences where he'd been a speaker, and I was always make sure the one guy I didn't want to miss was Roger, because he's really a wisdom carrier. He has this, this thing, and I've always found very useful and very inspirational. And so we got to talking, and I just lost my parents, and I had this massive heart attack, and we're both, just going through these big transitions. And we became pals, and we stayed in touch. And then we decided to do this podcast together, and Deep Transformation, see if we could, connect with all these amazing people, but, take it to a deep level and explore the contemplative aspect. And that means the deep presencing of the transcendent. And yeah, we haven't released it yet because we want to get a few arrows in our quiver before we release it all, but it should be in the next few weeks. And one of the things I realized about the people that we were interviewing or conversing with, perhaps is a better way of putting it, were people that really inspire me to be a better person, okay? And to Oh, we were interviewing or conversing with Jeff Salzman, who does the Daily Evolver podcast. Remember that, the Daily Evolver. I can't recommend this more. He's truly a beautiful example of integral in all its best aspects. He's brilliant. He's very loving. He's got a huge heart. He's very humble. He just puts it all together, and he looks at the issues of our times and puts them in a perspective that actually help us. He did one recently on Afghanistan. All the stuff was going there, and he went and took it from several different perspectives, how you could look what was going on. And it's like, it really helped. He's really a wise man. But anyway, we were talking, and I was asking about his practice, what he did. And he said, oh, well, he said something to the effect that, well, I'm sure it's not like you, John. I mean, you're so heroic, in your practices and all. I was like, really? I know I hassle my little family here about practice all the time, and I do talk about it. I didn't know that reputation had gone out, into the large world, especially with a man I respect like Jeff. And I said, well, I'm pretty consistent, but I'm heroic, so I better be, So it was a real, kick in the rear in a very good way to make sure that I'm in integrity. And it's really cool to have a good reputation, because in my case, one of the things I really detest is hypocrisy in myself and others. So if I'm talking this and I'm not walking it, well, shame on me. Just another blowhard. So that was really humbling to hear, but it also motivated me to practice more. And I'm going through a lot of stuff right now, personal stuff. A lot of young people that I've cared about for years that are, well, how can I say, they're disappointing me. Like, that's a big deal, right? If you disappoint John Dupuy, not such a thing, but they've made bad decisions, and they're going to suffer the consequences, and some go from meth addiction to getting into this weird internet cult thing of oh, by the way, the earth is flat and QAnon is the truth, and all this really, really scary stuff, to just dropping out of good schools because it was hard and taking the easy way out, and I'm just like, I'm incensed, and it's got a good school. It's got to be hard. That's why it's a good school. Why would you quit? And why would I know? Because I quit a few times and I feel really bad about it, so I try to, inspire people not to be quitters. And if it's hard, just get tough, like, oh, it's okay. It's so hard. No, don't be a wimp, man up or woman up or whatever it might be. And get through, confront the challenges. Why? Because it builds character. If you just like give up every time things are difficult, then you just become a wimp, and we live in times where we don't need wimps, we don't need weak people. We don't need, we need strong men and women. And how do you become a good person? It's a big question for me, because I work in the field of alcoholics and addicts, which destroys character. Okay, you start out here spiritually or emotionally or with your values, and you just as the disease take over, you become a functioning or a dysfunctioning sociopath. No conscience, just take, lie, steal, blah blah, because he's got to get the drug, right? And but what's the reverse of that? How do you build character? How do you become somebody that you would admire? It's great to admire yourself. It's great to have somebody once said, I don't know if it's the right word, but godly pride. In other words, you can take pride in the good things you've done and the people you've helped. And it's not in an ego inflation way, but it's a life affirming way that, hey, maybe it all wasn't just, spinning my wheels. I did accomplish some good things. It's okay to feel good about that stuff. So yeah, by practicing virtues, And one of the virtues, and these are traditional virtues, you go back to Aristotle, and you find them in early Christianity. I think Augustine and others, they talk about these essential virtues, and they've kind of gotten out of vogue in the last 100 years or so, but they're making a resurgence. They're coming back, and people are realizing the importance of virtue and the importance of practicing virtues, of being temperate, being moderate, right? Not being a crazy addict. Prudence. Prudence is an old word for street smarts, being worldly wise, and courage and compassion, all these things. And how do you work with those things? Well, you work on becoming more compassionate. You struggle with your lack of compassion and try to turn it around and become more compassionate for yourself and others. And by working on these virtues, we actually build character so that we do the right thing most of the time. Okay. And we do the right thing when nobody's watching. That's another one. So anyway, I suppose that's enough. And yeah, so these wonderful guests are really inspiring me to do what I do and to be grateful for the opportunities I have in my life right now to do good. And the tragedy, I kind of was in prayer and working with that today from my feelings of anger, outrage, shame, guilt. It kind of shifted to sadness, but not a despairing sadness, a sadness that evokes a sense of responsibility that I need to carry on and do what I do as well as I can, because that's what God's given me to do. And if we accept these things, that the sadness and the tragedy can become compassion and wisdom. That's the fruits. That's growing up. So anyway, hope that was useful, but that's what's on my heart. So we have an extraordinary track today. We had a semi break in September. So yeah, we're doing this, and it was supposed to be vacation. I was pretty busy. I mean, practices continue, right? No matter what. But I discovered NeuroFlow, and it's a track that I don't know when it came out, but it's been around, and I hadn't used it for a long time. And there's 4 tracks. I think they're 30 minutes each. And the first one is called Flow. And it's just extraordinary stuff, And the first one's called Focus. I'm sorry. So I think you're really going to enjoy this, and it's okay to enjoy meditation. It can be a good, fun thing, or maybe not fun's the right word, but just affirming and pleasurable. Okay, and the more you do it, the more you open these places up in your spirit and your soul and your brain, the more pleasurable it becomes. So let's do Focus. And hopefully this will focus our minds and our hearts so that we can practice the virtues to become the men and women that we can be, that we were meant to be, that our soul is invoking us, if we listen to it, to become and be. Okay, so without further ado. Welcome back, everyone. How was that? Pretty good. Hope so. Yeah, and let us know, by the way, email us or contact us and let us know your experience and how we can improve, or different tracks you'd like us to use, however you'd like. Yeah, I think I did most of the talking before the meditation. I think you're supposed to, right, meditate and then do the Dharma talk. Story of my life, right? But anyway, the main thing is that cultivate relationships that will inspire you to be a better person, to live a better life. And some of our relationships, we don't get to choose, right? Family, what are you gonna do? They're there, and that's your destiny and your fate, and you just got to deal with it with dignity and compassion. As all your buttons get trounced upon, right? But anyway, yeah, so hang out with groups of people that are good for you. Simple enough. If you're struggling with addiction, hang out with people that are sober. If you want to become great in any field, as an athlete, a musician, or a writer, or whatever the skill, hang out with others that are on that path, that have accomplished something. It's like when the rocks polish each other in these big bins to make polished rocks, they have to rub against each other, and obviously we have to do a lot of that stuff online now. But thank God for that. Can you imagine the pandemic without the internet? I don't know. It would have surely been different. And it's a nice beach where Rex is. Anyway, and the last thing is this whole practice deal. The main thing is just building habits. Okay. It's not very sexy or exciting, a habit. Yeah, well, there's really bad habits. I'm sure we've all experienced that in our lives at some point, and you just repetitively do these things. But the same thing is with practice, or working out, or meditating, or anything. You have to get into the habit of practicing, and when you do that, it just becomes what you do. It's not a big struggle anymore, and you don't have to get, I mean, it always helps. It always helps to have inspiration to focus more, to relax deeper, to to maybe meditate longer. It really helps. But if it's already, the habit's already there and you're just there, and sometimes we just do it because we do it, and all of a sudden we wake up while we're doing, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this, you know. So yeah, build habits, good ones, and figure out how you're going to do it. Oh, and the other thing is about practice. I know I keep talking about this practice, but it's important. It's got to be the number one thing. Okay, if it's the second thing, it just will happen. I'm going, yeah, I'll go back out there, do everything I got to do. No, I mean, you can do that. It's just not going to be, it's not going to, you're not going to establish a practice successfully. So some of us have children, young children, and we have older children, no children. Anyway, there's all kinds of good reasons not to do it. So you have to organize your life in a way, you know, where you get up early. If you have to get up early before anybody's up to do it, that's often, you know, I've seen parents have to do that because their kids get up, and once the kids get up, it's like, you know, hang on, I'm meditating. I don't know, that might be if the child's older, not if it's an infant, but they say, wow, dad meditating again. You know, that's pretty good role modeling. But yeah, you have to adjust your sleep habits. And, you know, and this all sounds like kind of a drag, and maybe discipline is, but ultimately the only way to freedom is by cultivating the disciplines to do the practice that liberate us. So anyway, yeah, freedom is not real freedom, not doing everything you want, everything you feel like, everything you lust for, everything you crave. I don't know if you've gone through periods of your lives where you've done that. It leads to prison, leads to damage, leads to greater suffering. It ain't fun. So when you can build the habits of transcendence, build the habits of becoming a better person, build the habits of practicing virtue, of meditating, of interior inquiry, of reading the great books, and hanging out with healthy, inspiring people. All of these things make life much more tolerable and beyond tolerable to really good. So, and what it also ultimately helps us prepare to die. You know, if we've done our thing, we've done our work, then we've already died a whole bunch of times. It makes it, you know, a bit easier to, without fear, to face the next thing. So, and what is in the place of fear is love, right? So anyway, love you guys, and thanks for joining us, and hope you like it. That was from NeuroFlow. We need to do some kind of special sale for this. We've produced so many good things over the years that sometimes the things get lost in the library stacks, but they're really good. And I've been using them quite a bit, and they've really been helpful. So yeah, tell your friends and your neighbors about this meditation thing, because the more of us that do it together, it's just a good thing. It helps us to wake up together, and it helps us send good energy out in the world. And there is scientific validation that doing these things actually has really good effects in the outside objective world. So let's hang together. So anyway, thank you guys, and we'll be here next time. God bless.